Hello. How are you guys doing tonight? Trying to get Kalley on here. Getting myself situated. Ready for a little tea break. Woke up this morning with a little bit of a headache. Been drinking tea like all day long. There we are. Hi, Kalley. Let me get you on here. I am typing away, Kaylin. I had somebody comment, like, are you really, like just running your fingers over it, or what's going on? I'm like, no, I really do type that fast. It's kind of crazy. Okay. Hey!
Hey, Kristen.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm so ready for this discussion. I am so excited. I just loved this book so much. And I'm going to have to be sneaky because my project that I'm working on is actually for somebody that's on the live. So I'm going to have to not share what I'm working on. Caitlin, this is for you. Just try not to look too much at what I'm doing here. I just figure we'll give it a few minutes here and let people jump on. So how's your evening going?
Good. I've been thinking about this all day. I was counting down the minutes.
Are you excited, nervous? This is your first live, right?
Yeah, it is. I've never, I don't know what it all looks like, so I'm trying to look at the people joining.
Well, I feel like we've got a pretty good connection. Sometimes it's been dicey, and I've got my hotspot down here.
Okay.
Basements. Ugh, that's the only place I can find that's away from the children, so.
Yeah, I'm in my bed.
We gotta do what we gotta do, right? Is Maddie in bed already for the night, or is your hubby got her?
Yeah, she's not asleep yet, but I just put her in bed, and my husband's here, so.
That's so fun. Oh man, I miss that age. I really do. I know it's got its ups and downs, but they're so cute.
They're so cute. I'm fine. What time do your boys go to bed now?
Later than I'd like.
They wake up early too.
Yeah, but they're pretty self-starting in the morning, so I can sleep until 8. I'm so thankful that they've reached that point. I can sleep.
A new part of your life. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, they normally go to bed maybe call me. I'm sorry. Did it pause the video?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. My mom was calling, and I swear she's got the worst timing. Oh my gosh. But no, they go to bed between 8:30 and 9 here with the summer, sometimes closer to 10. I'm really winning this mom thing. But, it is what it is. It's summertime. But when school's in session and stuff, they go to bed earlier. So.
When does it start there? Soon or September?
We start August 25th.
Okay.
We had about a month. But yeah.
About the same here.
Yeah, I think normally you guys in the past have been later than us, but they switched ours around recently, by a couple of weeks. Something to do with tourism and whatever. I'm not entirely sure how that works. Oh, Kaylin's telling me the 23rd. Okay. Because I think we're in the same school. Oh, no. We're in different school districts, Kaylin. Okay, so you're on the 23rd. I think I'm the 20th. Whatever that Wednesday is. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I think we probably can go ahead and get started. I just want you to know I printed color just for you.
Mine's black and white.
Okay, so welcome everybody to another Books, Whips, and Sips book club. And I, of course, left my book in the other room, 2 stories above me. I wasn't thinking, apparently. But we are discussing the Henna Artist. Kalley, do you have yours handy? Can you hold it up?
Kindle, so.
That's okay. You can still hold it up.
Let me find the cover of it.
Okay. Clearly, I was not as prepared as I should have been.
I like reading on my Kindle, but I almost ordered a hard copy, like just for pictures.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Henna Artist. Alka Joshi is the author. And so this book, I feel very transporting. So the main character is Lakshmi, and she's a hard worker. She's basically fled her small village where she was married to an abusive man. And while she was married to him, her mother-in-law basically taught her everything she knows about all kinds of herbal medicines, remedies, and the like. And and there was the teacher that taught her how to paint in the village there as well. And so when she fled her husband and she fled for 𝗔𝘂𝗴𝘂𝘀𝘁, she went to, she made a name for herself as a henna artist and also by selling various herbal remedies. So she's built this huge following. She's doing really well for herself. All of her dreams are in reach. And now her abusive husband turns up on her doorstep saying, "Hey, I've got your sister." And she's like, "Whoa, wait, what?" So just a quick gut reaction. The first thing that struck me was just the atmosphere of this book. Like, it was just like I was there. Now, you have actually been to India.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it was in 2012, I think.
That's amazing. So do you feel like all of the descriptions and everything going on with it was just like...
Yeah, it definitely like put me back there. Like the smells and the colors and everything. Like for a second, I forgot that it was actually set in the 50s because I felt like nothing had really changed. And I think in that video you linked, the author talks about how not much, as far as the atmosphere, has really changed about India.
In which you're referencing that video. Right before I hopped on here, I did update the link in my bio for anybody that wants to watch it. There is a video where Alka Joshi, you get to meet her a little bit, and then she talks about the book. And I've linked that next to the Henna Artist button review in the reviews section on my link in my bio. So if you guys want to watch that, that's where that's at. And I'm also going to, when I post this to YouTube, I'll put it in the description box there too. So, all right. So before we get any further into the book, let's talk about you, because I was skipping around a little bit and I'm feeling a little bit like,
okay.
Sorry. I'm having one of those days where I feel like I'm really flighty. I promise I didn't stay up till 2 a.m. reading again last night.
Sure.
But no, tell us a little about yourself. Tell us about your blog, your business, your shop, how things have gotten where they are, and everything else. Tell us about you.
Well, this all started about 5 years ago. Just my friends wanted to buy hats and scarves, so I decided to sell them. I didn't have like an Etsy shop or anything yet like that. And I was teaching at the time, so I didn't put like, it wasn't really a business, you know what I mean? And then we made a last minute move for my husband's job to move back to Virginia to be closer to family. So at that point, I just took like a part-time nanny job, and the rest of the time I just poured into growing this business that just kind of fell into my lap. And with all that time, that's when it really started to grow. So now, 4 years later, I'm designing. I've been blogging for a year and a half, and some influencing, as much as I hate that word. But I really love where this has ended up, especially because I get to stay home with my daughter. So I'm really thankful the way it just all played out perfectly.
Yeah, I think I started following you like way back, almost at the very beginning of your Insta career, because I want to say like it's been at least 4 years at least.
That's
I was trying to
crazy.
think about that earlier. I was like, man, how long have I been following Kalley? I think like it's been I just love your whole aesthetic, like the whole feel of everything that you do. It's like effortlessly chic, and I love it.
Thank you. I try to keep it just real life as much as I can, but the pretty side.
But the pretty
Um,
face.
yeah, I feel like I've taken a lot of different directions. Were you following me when I was making the coffee cozies?
Yes, I was. Those were cute
But
though.
that's what really like took off, and
Yeah,
I think that's when a lot of my followers came in. So
yeah, those were
that's fun.
adorable. In
Yeah.
fact, I actually was like, it's so funny because I was making coffee cozies and I didn't even know that those little felty things existed until I found your account, and I'm like, oh,
It
just
took me
open up.
forever to like I had seen them places before too, and I didn't know what they were called. So I didn't even know like what to look for. But I
Yes,
kept
you
looking
know,
for patches. I was like, okay, they're not iron on. And finally I found them on Etsy, and there's like tons of Felty
yeah,
sellers out there.
yeah. It's so funny how that, because I had that same problem. I had no idea what they were called. And it was
Yeah.
just it was just pure luck that one of the crochet groups that I was in on Facebook, we're talking about this the other day, that there was a lady in there that was like, oh, have you ever thought about putting felties on them? And I'm like, felties? And like Google search. I'm like, oh, yeah, those.
It's a whole new world that opens up when you find Felties.
And then it's like, I must have this one and I must have that one. And it's just like yarn. It's just
Yeah.
another addiction.
It got to the point where I was buying more than I was selling, which was becoming a problem.
Yeah. Those ones though, I love how you had like all the Disney ones.
Hmm.
And I remember there was one of them that had, so my favorite Disney movie was Cinderella. And I absolutely adore Gus Gus. And one of your felties was a Gus felty. And I'm like, I need to know where she got that. Oh my, we frozen. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Kind of.
Are we back? Kind of goes
Okay,
in.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we're good now. But like,
What was your favorite Disney movie? I lost you there.
oh, okay. It was Cinderella.
Okay.
And so I saw that you had posted a cup cozy that had Gus Gus,
Oh
the
yeah,
little Gus
that was a
the mouse.
favorite.
I loved it so much. I'm like, I need to know where this came from. Like it was fun. But anyways, so I have been following along with you too, and I see that you've got this new online course. So talk a little
Yes.
bit about that.
So this past month, well, back in the spring, I started working on writing a course. I wasn't really sure what like format it would be. I thought I would just sell like a little ebook or something on Etsy, but it turned into a whole course, and releasing that was scary, but also a lot of fun. So it is a course how to market your crochet or knit patterns. It's not how to design patterns, but how to market them on Instagram to sell. So it
Yeah,
is open to purchase anytime. There's a link in my bio, but yeah,
I
I'd like
feel
to
like
create
that's
more
got to be
courses. I
such a
just,
great resource. I mean, I feel
yeah,
like getting started, I mean, I still don't know what the heck I'm doing, to be perfectly honest. So I need to get me that course. And I know Layla was saying that she got in on the pre-sale or pre-order pre-sale.
yes.
So,
I'm hoping that it helps a lot of people
well, it sounds like a
just be
great
more confident in
resource.
selling.
And you've clearly done something right. Right.
Somehow.
That's awesome. So are you going to offer this, like, is this like a forever thing?
Yeah, this is a forever thing, and I hope to write more courses. I just don't know what about yet.
Gotcha. And are you thinking that like, is this something that you'll like, I guess, is this, you said this is for Instagram specifically, right?
Yeah.
So because Instagram is so constantly changing, and is the course more along the lines of more like generally speaking, or does it go into like saying specifically, okay, you know, you need to do this on Instagram, like you know, the stuff dealing more technically with like algorithm, or are you speaking more in generalities?
I'd say more general. Yeah, I try not to get into the algorithm too much because I don't
Because it changes.
even understand it. It changes and there's like so much false information out there. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I touch on like Pinterest and email marketing and stuff like that in the course too,
Oh,
but
good.
there's no like Facebook. 'Cause like we've talked about, I'm not on Facebook and I don't understand it.
I was literally just telling somebody else today, I was like, I think I'm just going to ditch it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just getting to this point where I'm over Facebook. But okay, well, that sounds really, especially if it's got Pinterest and email, and that sounds like a really great course. So how much does it go for?
It is $75. So I
Oh, that's
feel like
really
I
not
wanted, yeah,
reasonable.
I wanted it to be affordable, so you didn't have to make like a huge investment.
And it's a forever thing. Like once you buy it,
Yeah.
you've got access to it forever.
And any updates, so if I add any information to it or anything like that, you've got it all
That sounds awesome.
at the starting price. Yeah.
Caitlin's like, yes, same. I'm over Facebook. Right? Although, Caitlin, I think you do a great job on Facebook. I was actually kind of jealous of your skills because she's got a Facebook group for her quiet time crafting, and she's just all over it. Like, she's always like engaging and asking questions and making posts, and I'm over here like, I am really tired. Like,
That's one thing I feel like Facebook has over Instagram is the groups.
yes.
I wish Instagram had something like that, like at least on the desktop version or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's primarily, I mean, I'm probably not going to get rid of it entirely. I mean, I'm going to keep my personal profile and just so I can do the groups. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, no, that sounds like a really fabulous course. How long did it take you to write that? You said you started when?
It took about 3 months.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome, Kalley. I'm excited to see what you've got with it. So I'll have to get over there and check that out. And that's on your website?
It is a separate platform, so you can get to it through my through the link in my bio.
Sounds good. All right. So what did you bring to work on?
I brought a new beanie design.
Ooh,
This is
fun.
a coffee bean beanie, but fingering weight. So I just
Oh,
added a third color to it.
I love those colors together too.
So I'm excited. Yeah, what are you working on?
Okay, so I can't show you because Caitlin's on here and this is for her. But it is a new design. And if I ever actually get it done and over to her, I'll even get it posted. But I guess what I can say about it is that it is summery, but transitional into fall. Caitlin's laughing at me. It's coming, girl. It's coming. Okay. Yeah, it's a transitional piece. See, I think if I speak in vague generalities, maybe she won't guess it. So, but I think she's gonna like it. Fingers crossed.
Is it wearable?
Yes.
Well, I can't wait to see it.
Me too. All right. So let's go ahead and jump back into the book. Let's see. So I talked about my gut reaction. I forgot to ask you yours. Give me your gut reaction.
I loved it. I thought it started a little slow, slow, but I feel like I say that about every single book that I read. I think I was expecting a little more like intensity, but I will say that I feel like the author took some like really heavy topics and just really wrote them in like a very tasteful way that like anyone could read.
Agreed.
So
There's
I
definitely
don't,
a lot of hard
yeah.
topics in it.
I felt like those are very hard topics to like write about, but I didn't feel uncomfortable like reading it at all.
Yeah. And you had mentioned too previously about how you kind of thought that based on the description of the book, you thought it was going to have another part to the story, like insofar as where
I thought it would start with her being married. Well, like with her husband.
right. So we'd actually see some of that.
Yeah, and I was a little surprised that when her husband came back, it wasn't more dramatic. And maybe that was just
Agreed.
me, like the way I read it, but I felt like it was just like, oh, he's there.
Yeah, I felt like it was dramatic from Lakshmi's perspective, but like I was feeling like I felt like it should have been like I felt like he just came, said his piece, and left, and I was
Yeah.
hoping for more from him, I guess.
And
But
she had people there to protect her, so it was definitely dramatic, but not like I didn't feel like she was as scared of him as I would have been.
right, right, and I feel like though, like as far as him just saying what he needed to and leaving, I think that could also be part of the way she drew his character in the story in general. So I
And
don't know.
the like growth he had experienced, because by
Right,
the end of the book, he has changed a lot. So
right, right, exactly.
it made more sense after I finished the book.
Yes. But I agree. I was expecting it to start with like actually in their marriage, like their marital home,
Hmm.
and seeing some of that, which I think, and this is actually probably a great kind of segue into something that you had mentioned as far as triggers. You know, like that would just been potentially like another trigger. I mean, it's one thing to
Yeah.
mention the abuse, but it's another to show it in some way.
Hmm.
And I feel like that might be why it didn't start that way potentially. But yeah. So speaking of triggers, there are quite a few in this book, as you mentioned. Besides the alluding to the abuse that happened, there's also the miscarriages and abortion and all that stuff, as well as just general, I feel like suppression. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Um, could be triggers for anybody that hasn't read this and is considering it. So just be advised that those topics are included in it.
I
And
feel like most of them are, I don't know what the right word is, like the domestic abuse, it was alluded to.
right, it wasn't.
Um,
It was mentioned but not shown, so to speak.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I
I felt
think that
like the
she
book was
handled
very
it.
tame.
I think she handled everything very tastefully, like you were saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Cool. Let's see here. And this is the first time my outline has been not really an outline. It's been so long when I printed this. I'm like, I have never had one that's gone over 2 pages. That's
Well,
crazy.
I feel like with historical fiction, you're like trying to get everything right.
Yes, I know. And it's like, and especially because this is something completely different than what we're used to, I felt like I needed to really try and make sure I was as prepared as possible. I mean, I know I'm going to
Right.
probably not get all of the names pronounced correctly or anything like that. I did try and watch the video that tells you like where she's saying their names and such, so that I hopefully am saying them as close to the way she's saying them as
I
possible.
watched one video where it was someone else like interviewing her, and he was saying some of the names like differently than she was
Oh,
saying, and I was
really?
like, oh my gosh, now I'm confused.
Dang. Well, poo.
We'll do our best.
We will. All right. So just the author mentioned in here too that I don't know how many people have actually read it or are just tuning in for the review portion and the meet and greet or whatever. So I just like to try and go over a little bit about as much of it spoiler free as I can here. But if you haven't read the book, the author basically wrote this as a fictional retelling of like an alternative life for her mother, who her mom was apparently, if you read the author's note at the end, was a bride at 18, I think, and then had 3 kids before she was 22. Um, she was not asked for her opinion about any of it. So, um, very different culture as to compare like with what we have now, not just now for us, but even in the 50s for the US. Arranged marriages were not something that was typical at that point, I don't think. There was probably some, but I don't know. There's a
Probably
lot of,
depended on like how wealthy you were.
I think, yeah, agreed. And that could go either way too. I think like sometimes if your money might give you the flexibility to choose what
Yeah.
your path is, and others might have higher expectations that you marry into other money, you know.
Yeah, that's true. It could go either way.
Yeah. I did see, so we talked about this a little bit, like before I read the book, I was a little disconcerted by the character list. Like you first open the book and there's this list of like, what is it, 4 or 5 pages worth of
It is
characters.
wild. I was like, oh my goodness, are these all main characters?
I know. I was like, am I going to have to remember everybody? But honestly, I never flipped back to it even once. I think she did a great job. I don't think she even needed to include that. But the glossary of terms, on the other hand, I found myself putting a bookmark back there so that I can flip back and forth to that like all the time. I was looking back at those terms, like just trying to get like all the different, the Hindi terms and even French terms that I didn't know or whatever.
Yeah.
So trying to, but I thought that like normally that might put me off, but I felt like that just helped kind of put me into the setting even more, you know?
Yeah, I think that was probably the main reason. Same with the character list.
Oh, you know what I was thinking of too? And I don't know, this was like a total random thought, and I don't know if you saw this or not, but like, you know how like she's describing the caste system and like, I mean, obviously you see that in the book, but she goes into it a little bit more in the author's note at the end and the informational sections. And it made me think of like, did you ever read the Divergent series?
I read the first one, yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that. Like, almost
Yeah.
like how it's not just caste, like, you know, it's not just classes, like upper, middle, lower, but it's like you're born into this caste, you do this type of job. And I
Mm-hmm.
just like, I wondered if that's where Veronica Roth got her inspiration.
Probably, yeah.
Could
That would
be.
be interesting to know.
Yeah, just a random aside, I guess. Okay, so before we jump into all the spoilery type stuff, is there anything else that you want to add, or?
I don't think so. If
Okay,
you start the book and you feel like it's slow, keep reading because it gets really good.
yes, agreed. And don't let that character list.
Yeah.
You
Get
won't need
past
it.
the character list.
Yeah, you won't need it. It's okay.
Just skip over it.
Yeah, you won't need it. And if you haven't checked out that video, like I said, I posted it in the link in my bio. You'll have to scroll down to the reviews section, but it's right next to my review, the link to my review for this book, which is spoiler free. So if you have not read the book and you want to find out some more, that's a good resource place to start. And just so everybody knows that before you jump off, if you have to, the next book for next month is going to be Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. And I may have already started it, and I may have already finished it. And normally I wait until like a couple of weeks before the live so that it's all fresh in my head, but I just couldn't help myself. So very quick read. So Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. I have that posted in at the link in my bio as well, under the Book Swips and Sips book club section. And the next live is going to be August 31st at 7 p.m. And yeah, if you are interested ever in being a guest host too, there's a link. Just let me know for that as well. Okay, so at this point, if you have not finished or haven't read the book, now's the time to hop off so we can just have a little chit chat while people do. So, yeah. So what'd you bring to sip on? Anything?
I brought some sparkling water, but it's in my cup with ice because I used to only drink it out of the can and now I have to drink it in ice.
I can't stand to drink any like water and ice anymore. Like it's just cold for my teeth. Like
yeah,
even with a straw, like it's so weird.
I definitely prefer using a straw. But yeah.
Yep.
What are you sipping on?
I got some decaf vanilla Kamaro tea.
That sounds
It's
good.
Carney and Sons. It's delicious.
Oh, I think I have that one. I just always like, I never drink it because it's decaf, but I should drink it at night.
Yeah, I sometimes I just find it's like nice and cozy to have a little cup at the end of the day. Of course, it's
Yeah,
like 98 degrees
I
outside, and everybody's like,
know.
"You're drinking tea?"
Well, I'm wearing a sweatshirt. It's cold in my house.
Not a bad problem to have. My hubby is a little on the cheap side, so he tends to keep it kind of warm, and I'm like over here, almost.
Yeah,
I'm almost hitting 40 here soon, so I'm like,
I know what you mean.
but yeah. All right. Well, I think we're safe. So hopefully, if you haven't finished the book, then you've already jumped off. Okay. So she talks about her mother-in-law a lot, and I could not figure out how to say that word. Did you find that one by any chance? It's the 𝙍𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬.
No. Like I said, I listened to some of the audiobook, but do you have it written anywhere here?
Yeah, it's on the outline. It's in the quote.
Oh,
It's the very first word. Do you remember that one? I'm just curious because it's like, she talks about her
I
so
think
much.
sauce. I think like it's spelled 𝙍𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬.
Yeah, it sounds funny. It sounds like
I
sausage, and I
know.
didn't want to like
Every time I read something like it's spelled, I'm like, that's gotta be wrong.
exactly. That's
But
how I
I'm
feel
pretty
too.
sure it was 𝙍𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬.
Okay, because they definitely have that. They pronounce the J. It's not like it's not like
Yeah,
Spanish where it's like a different sound. But
yeah.
anyway, I was gonna share. I always try and share a quote, so I was gonna go ahead and share this one because it kind of struck me as appropriate for the book. So, Sasuji once told me there were three kinds of karma: the accumulated karma from all our past lives, the karma we created in this life, and the karma we stored to ripen in our future lives. And I thought that was kind of an interesting quote. Like, it definitely comes up a lot, like, insofar as she keeps wondering, like, if her, leaving her husband and therefore, culturally that brought shame upon her entire family and everybody who's ever been associated with her, basically.
That made
Like
me so sad.
yeah. And she legitimately believes that that's, you know, shameful, I guess,
Hmm.
which is an interesting point when we're talking about, Western culture versus the Hindi culture. And I don't know if that's just Hindi or if that's all of India, because there's
I want to say
Muslim.
it's also just an Asian culture thing in general. I don't want to like speak out of turn, but I, my husband lived in China for a couple years, and I feel like that was bringing like your actions can bring shame upon your whole family. Yeah,
Yeah,
which is a really selfless way of living when you think about it. Like we don't worry about anyone but ourselves
that's true.
for the most part.
That's a really good point, and has you thinking too about like how honor has a huge place.
Hmm.
But then, just like anything, I feel like these things can also, you know, it can be dishonorable to be honorable. Like in Lakshmi's situation, where she's being abused, for example,
Yeah.
like, and culture and law would have her stay there and basically get beaten,
Hmm.
which is
Yeah.
awful.
It made me sad that she felt like all of Radha's problems later on in the book were like a result of her choices, um, which I feel like makes her character was like very complex because she was like so independent on one end, but also very like respectful of her culture. And does that make sense? Like, I feel like she had a balance of like independence, but also not. That
Lakshmi,
makes sense. Yeah, Lakshmi.
yeah, yeah, I can see that. Like, and And I feel like that's kind of this rift in herself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of her general struggle as she's grown throughout the book too, is, you know, reaching that point where she can finally live harmoniously with herself,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um, yeah. So that's Lakshmi. There was, okay, who was your favorite character in the book?
Definitely Malik.
Oh, mine too. He was so awesome, and I'm
I
so
know.
excited. He's getting
Picturing
his
him
own
in my
book.
head. I know. I have to read it. I saw it was about him.
Yes, I'm excited. He was my favorite character too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Lakshmi, and she's
Yeah.
honorable, and I love her. You know, her growth and everything. Radha got on my nerves, but she's also a teenager.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She had me thinking, I think almost every time I was reading something about her, I had two thoughts. The first being, I'm really glad I don't have girls. And two being, I'm not ready for high school.
Oh my gosh, I know. She was 13, right?
Yeah. Although I think by the end of the book, it had been a couple of years. So, but yeah, she
Mm-hmm.
starts out 13. And I mean, you know, she's never known anything but this, you know, slow, quiet village life where everybody knows everybody and everybody knows everybody's business. And then, you know, completely unworldly. And she's thrust into this, you know, high class environment of all of Lakshmi's clients. And
And she was on her own a lot.
yeah, yeah. And I felt like the struggle, like that Lakshmi had, like she didn't feel like she had the right to any authority over her sister, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same right, at the same rate, she kind of like recognized that she was the only authority over her sister, and I think that was another struggle for her throughout the book that I found
Yeah.
extremely relatable. Like, who are you to tell me what to do? Well, I'm your older, wiser sister. You know, like you're not my mom. No, but I've been around the
I
block
felt
too.
myself forgetting that she was her sister instead of her mom. Did you ever feel like that?
I didn't. No, I thought that. I think I was just paying more attention to like how I would feel if I was in her position. That I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't cross my mind that she, you know, like I didn't. But I can see where you'd say that because she definitely worried like a parent, you know,
Yeah.
and questioned herself and blamed herself and everything. And that's
I
parent
think
everything.
that, like you said, she didn't want to, like, she didn't feel like she could really tell her what to do, but like Radha really, like, kind of wanted that. Yeah, needed it, but also kind of like longed for that, since she was more like a mother figure.
Yeah,
And she had come all the way there looking for her. So,
I did feel like almost the like for the first, I don't know, third of the book, maybe even the first half with Radha, that like I felt like okay, she's. I didn't think anything untoward of her, but then by like the the second third or maybe like the early second half, I was wondering if maybe she wasn't just like really extremely manipulative and
hmm,
had like just all these other like motives and um, like desires and things like that that were kind of driving her. And like I didn't even know pretty much up until the end and to like which side of that she was going to fall on. Like, and I thought
so
that was very well and very interestingly done as well. I don't
yeah,
know if
so
he did it on purpose.
what
Mhm.
conclusion did you come to?
I think that she was just a misguided teenager instead of
Yeah,
just,
same.
yeah, I think that, you know, so I don't think that she was being manipulative. I can't talk. Thanks. Remember my books. I can't do any of that today. Uh, but I didn't think she was being manipulative towards the end because I felt like she was really, truly blindsided by, what was his name, Robbie?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That he was um, lascivious and underhanded. So,
Yeah. I think she was just young.
yeah.
Um,
And
and I think she had
confused.
a little, like, because the first thing we saw was at the party when she was like gonna throw the rocks
Yeah.
at Sheila. And
I'm
I was like, but
just
I think,
surprised, like,
what?
I'm just kind of surprised that that would be her, even like growing up in a village. I'm like, that would be her go-to. Like,
Yeah, I know, but I get she had been bullied, right?
yeah.
So I guess she had just gotten kind of used to like defending herself. So that
Yeah.
was just her first reaction.
A little
But
feral.
that was like the first little glimpse we had at the other side of her.
Yeah. Yeah. The feral side. That's what I'm going to call it.
Hmm.
Yeah. What about Samir and Parvati? What did you think
I
of them?
I liked her until I mean I don't I feel like she was totally justified at the end.
I didn't blame her for anything. Although I was very
No.
curious to know if it wasn't her that started the rumor, who it was.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one thing we didn't get like total
Resolution.
closure about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't blame her at all at the end, and I think I made a note like I was a little surprised that Lakshmi couldn't like understand why she was upset that she
I don't
slept
know that
with
she
her
didn't
husband.
understand. I think she got it. I just
Once she
think,
pulled out the pocket watch.
oh,
Like did she know that she knew?
I feel like she did. I feel like the wife always knows first and foremost.
Yeah.
But I think also at that time, and I don't even think this is a cultural thing. I think this is just a generational or sign of the times that was very different for men and women. Like the women's situation obviously was very different back then. She said I had no moral ground after sleeping with that. Yeah. See, I think Kaylin's right. Kaylin just said she said I had
Oh,
no
okay.
moral ground after sleeping with her husband, and I think so I think she did acknowledge that, but oh, I always forget how. There we go. I scroll the comments up so that I can read them all, and then I can't remember how to get them to go back down so I can see you. Um, it was when the wife was in the rain waiting to leave. Yeah. I had another thought I was gonna along that vein. Oh, so like even here in the U.S. back in those days, that like it was just perfectly acceptable for men to have mistresses,
Mhm.
and the wives knew all about them,
Yeah.
and
That's what
they
I've
got through it as best as they could by, you know, um, maybe they collected jewelry, maybe they went and they started drinking, maybe they had their parties, maybe they had something that they did to kind of help them either be distracted from it or as a way to hold some power in some way in the relationship too. And
mhm.
I think that that's kind of what was going on with Parvati because, like her power was mostly over her son. And so being able to, you know, arrange a great marriage for him was going to be a very serious feather in her cap. But I think she knew about all of his mistresses. And I can only imagine how it would have felt like for Parvati when the other mistress came to her about Lakshmi. You know,
Yeah.
like, really?
I think that was what yeah.
Thrown her out.
She
Like,
she said I think that was like what hurt the most
yeah,
was that she heard it from her.
yeah. But yeah, I think it was something for
I
sure.
saw that we saw that coming the whole book though.
Yep. Yeah. Yes, we did. Although Samir, I feel like he is just a product of his time and
Mhm.
as well. And sadly, so is Robbie, his son. So things have come a long way, at least here. I'm not sure about there, but
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm very curious. I'm not sure I'll have to look into that and see. But yeah, the more things change too, the more they stay the same. So we've still got a long way to go too. So,
Oh, for sure.
Okay. I really liked, but also got heavily annoyed by Kanta at times.
Mm-hmm.
I liked her because she seemed, very loyal, but like just also had complete blinders on when it came to like being appropriate with somebody else's, teenage, I don't want to say daughter because obviously it was her sister, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
do we know how old she was?
I got the feeling like she was maybe in her early 20s, and I got the feeling that they were probably early to mid 20s.
I did like her. I felt like she was like fun.
Yeah.
Like young and fun.
Yes, agreed.
And she wasn't a mother yet, so.
Right. So I feel like there's definitely a learning curve. Like once she sees that, she's going to see, like, had she been like, and I think the only reason that action annoyed me is because I am a mother and I can just imagine how I would feel like if somebody was doing that with my kid. I'm like, oh no, you didn't.
Totally.
So, but yeah, no, I did like her, and I loved how loyal she was, not just to Lakshmi, but also to Radha, especially with everything that happened. And yeah, I really did like her, and I'm so happy that she found had a love match too. So
yeah, and she ended up with a baby.
Yeah. So that's the main characters. Any other characters you can think of to talk about?
No, I think we covered some of the
big ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so I mentioned in my outline the cover art. Like, I don't always judge books by covers, but I totally did this one, and I just loved it. I just, like, honestly, even before I read what it was about, I'm like, I should read that. It's got a pretty cover.
It's funny because, like, I felt the opposite.
Really?
Because I don't really like red. And so it was just like, and I don't like bright, like in your face type of things. So when I saw it, I was like, looks kind of like cheesy or something. You know what I mean? So it's funny that we had different reactions to the cover.
Yeah, I liked it.
It wasn't one I would like pick up at the store based on the cover.
But it just goes to show you can't judge a book by a cover, right?
Right, exactly.
But I am glad I'm glad we picked it up because it was really pretty good.
Do you think that there's a chance it would ever become a movie?
I don't know. Maybe.
It would be a good one.
Book Club pick.
Yeah.
And I know that Reese Witherspoon likes this type of thing. She is making Where the Crawdads Sing.
Yes.
Did you read that book?
Yes. That was another one I felt the same. I felt like it
started slow.
Reading it, was the same as this one where it was like kind of a slow burn, but like so good.
Yes, I agree.
I thought of that book a lot while I was reading this one. Yeah.
But I also think that it's got a lot of similar qualities to the story that one did. So I mean, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be worth looking up. We'll have to do a quick Google search on that later. But I would love to see it as a movie. I think it would be.
I would too.
Really neat. I always like this. Like I love to watch movies based on books that I've read. And like everybody's always like, "Well, the book's always better than the movie." Well, of course the book's always better, but it doesn't make the movie any worse.
Yeah, the movie is usually still good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even watch the movies or shows first so that I have like something to picture in my mind, and then it makes the book even better.
Well, there you go.
Because you get so much more detail.
Yeah.
Layla says they are making this book into a movie.
Oh, they are? Ooh, yay. We'll have to look and see when it's coming. Layla, if you want to Google and see when that's supposed to come out. Can you just do my work for me? Thanks. Caitlin's like, I like to yell at the screen. That is not like I will say like the one time that there was a movie adaptation that I got really disappointed with, and I watched this when I was a kid, so please don't hold that comment against me. But my only disappointment with this movie, I watched To Kill a Mockingbird, and I was extremely upset that I didn't get to see a scene in the movie where Scout punched her cousin for Thanksgiving. I really wanted to see that scene. And
I haven't watched the movie, but I was really, really late to reading the book. But I did read it.
My husband never read it. Like, it was never required reading for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had to read it
wasn't
3
me either.
times for school. Three times.
It was one of my husband's favorite books.
Mine too.
So I feel like reading it later as an adult was probably better.
Eye-opening, for sure.
Now, did you try to read the second one?
I did read the second one.
I didn't finish it.
I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
And
I don't think most people did.
But my reasoning, it's multifaceted for that, but we can, most of it
Another
having
book
to do,
club.
yeah, another book club, but most of it having to do with the fact that she didn't want it published.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you've got to respect that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, people just trying to make a buck. I digress.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about some of the topics that are covered in the book. Oh man, it's almost 8 o'clock and I feel like we still have more stuff to talk about. Okay.
Is it gonna cut us off?
No, it won't. So we can keep going. It's all good. I just usually try and kind of keep it reined in.
Yeah.
I'll try and keep myself reined in a little bit better this time. I'm so flighty tonight. I swear I'm not normally like this. And everybody else that's watching this is like, yeah, you are. Layla just texted me the Google search. All right, I'll look at it afterwards, I promise. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the differences in castes and classes. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that. I just found it really interesting getting to see, like, it's not just classes, it's actual like careers get chosen, and it matters who you marry. You can't marry with like outside of your caste, kind of, or it's unheard of, rather uncommon, let's say. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that or not.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, then let's talk. We've talked a little bit about the women's like place, like our, you know, my cousin was here, he'd be like, the women's place is in the kitchen. He'd say that just to it was to send me off on a rant every single time. The women's place, the women's place in the 50s, Indian culture. You know, we've I feel like touched on that. I don't know if there's anything else we want to add to that either. There's definitely a lot less opportunity compared to even their contemporaries at the time here in the U.S., which is just sad. And I'm not sure how much that's changed. I feel like there's still a lot of it. Like, I don't know. You've been there. You tell me.
Yeah, I think I would say, yeah, it's still a very like deeply cultural thing, but there is more freedom than there was in the 50s, from what I can understand.
So they finally reached like 50s US. Kind of like.
But also, like what they thought of us, and I feel like it's still the same way, is like based on Hollywood, which isn't always totally
Agreed. Accurate.
like accurate about the way we are over here.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because like I feel like that whole bit, you know, because Kanta, is it Kanta or Kanta? I'm not sure how to say it. But when she introduced Radha to the American movies, and I feel like that was definitely something she should have asked permission about, and like had a conversation outside of Radha's hearing with Lakshmi about it, because when your culture is so different from what, you know, like where she's at and like where she lives culturally is so different from what she's being exposed to, and she's not worldly enough to understand that yet. You know, I
Yeah.
felt like there needed to be conversation there, but I definitely think that the portrayal of Western women via the Hollywood scene was part and parcel of Radha's misconception of her whole situation as well.
Yeah, because she was saying like what was it, Marilyn Monroe
Mm-hmm.
and those women, which were an exception
Right.
to the
We all know
way.
how Marilyn Monroe's life ended. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing is ever as it seems, ever.
Hmm.
So,
And Lakshmi did like voice her concerns about going to the movies, and she still took her.
yeah. But I also feel like she hemmed and hawed about it. Like, I don't feel like she was assertive. I feel like,
Yeah, exactly.
like, I think that if,
Like you said, yeah, she didn't feel like she could be.
I mean, because they had
Um,
the conversation right there while Radha was standing there,
hmm.
and I would feel hesitant to talk any further about it if I, like, because her situation with her sister was still pretty
Pretty
tenuous
new.
and new,
Yeah.
and they were not very sure-footed with each other. You know, they were still trying to get to know one another, and I'm sure too that she didn't want to come across as being the no fun, overbearing older sister. And I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it, I think, but
Yeah.
I definitely think that that had a huge part to play in the book with Radha's behavior for sure.
Yeah.
Now, you thought that the Western medicine versus the holistic, all the holistic and herbs and oils and things like that that were in the book. I found that was very interesting too. Wasn't there like a thing at the end that was talking about all the different herbal remedies and things like that and how they're used? I feel
Like
like there
in
was,
the end of the book.
yeah, like an author's note sort of thing.
I didn't see it, but I just thought it was so interesting. It was like a huge part of the book, and I found it so fascinating and like cool. Also, the job she ended up taking at the end with the doctor, how they like intermingled the two.
I thought that
Um,
was very forward thinking for the times too. Not just for the
yeah,
culture, but for the times.
yeah. And I loved reading like how she'd like mix up different things, even like paint and henna,
Yeah.
um, just with all natural ingredients. I found that really cool.
Have you ever had a henna tattoo?
Yeah.
I never did. I've always wanted one though.
Yeah, so it's funny because like here when you get henna like at the beach, it's basically like a spray on temporary tattoo,
Yeah.
but they say it's like henna. Um, but yeah, there was exactly like the book said, like they draw it on you and then you have to be really still and it dries and then you wipe it all off. And it smells really good.
I think that would be so cool. If I've ever
And they
made,
do use it to like highlight their hair. Because she mentioned was it the shop owner that
yeah.
had dyed his hair like really badly and said it was her.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, why? That was something else that struck me. Like, why would he do? Oh, that was because Malik was saying that he was like bragging about how. Okay, never mind. Sorry. That was funny though.
that whole like part of the book felt really random to me.
A little
Did
bit.
it? And I don't, maybe I just missed like the underlying like reason it was there, but um it felt like I didn't need to read it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that was in there mostly for like, like in kind of furthering Malik's character a little bit because he's kind of that comic relief, as it were.
Yeah.
But oh man, I just ran out of yarn and I didn't finish my pattern repeat. Nuts. Um, but I did think that it was kind of weird, especially because it was in relation to her trying to figure out who started the rumor about
Hmm.
her. Like, and it has nothing to do with thieving. So like, how are the two related? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah. I feel like it got a little lost at the end. but I
Kaylin,
usually.
Kaylin's asking, was he trying to justify her downfall? No. So I think that Malik was bragging about her accomplishments, it sounded like, and then this guy made some comment to kind of put Malik in his place, and somehow that was supposed to be our answer to who started the rumors about Lakshmi stealing things that basically completely disintegrated her client list. So, but yeah, he was 8 years old. He's like, honestly, he was my favorite character. I loved Malik. I'm so excited to read the next book just so that I can have an entire book of his perspective.
Me too. I feel like we didn't get enough of him. Like he was
Yeah.
such a huge character, but we didn't get enough of his story.
And he was so wise for so young. You know, like clearly he's seen a lot, you know. Kids do say random things. That is the truth. Yeah, that was like, I feel like the only thing that didn't have any closure though was who started the rumor. And I don't know why, but I'm really stuck on it and I really want to know who did it. So Alka Joshi, I want to know. But you were asking if I thought, you know, if her and the doctor ended up together at the end. And I think that it's open for interpretation, but I like to think that they did.
Yeah.
I want everybody to get their happy ending, that's all.
For a second, I thought that she was like gonna end up with her ex-husband. And I was like, seriously? But then I feel like definitely at the end, it's implied that she ends up with the doctor.
Yeah.
I hope so. I don't know if that's something that will be in the next book. Do you think?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, it says that some of the characters, the way I was reading the description of the next book, it made it sound like it's, we're going to get a lot more of Lakshmi's story. We're going to get some more of Lakshmi's story, but the primary focus is going to be Malik. So, Malik, I think it's Malik. I don't know. But yeah, either way, I'm really looking forward to it. I'll have to look. Is it out already?
I think so.
Or is it pending?
But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. I'll have to look at that.
I've seen the cover for it, but I don't know if it's out.
Yeah, it's like this purpley color. Would you pick that one up?
No. I think I figured out what it is. It's partially the cover. It's partially the color, but also when covers have like a real picture on them. Does that make like a real life picture instead of like a drawing or just words? Something about like a picture of real people looks cheesy to me. And I think it's like because it like makes me think of like the romance novels that you see with like real people on the cover. I just like associate it with I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick it up.
I think the colors and like the style of it honestly kind of remind me a lot of a like a YA fantasy type book.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm gonna start reading about vampires or something.
That is not my favorite genre.
I'm not opposed to it, but I have to be in the mood. Like I have to be in a certain literary mood, which is probably why I always have like 5 or 6 books going on at the same time. It's kind of like projects. Kind of like projects. Like you have to be in a certain mood for a certain one. It's always good to have multiple.
Exactly.
Let's see. We talked about that one too. Yeah. Honestly, I think we've hit everything now. Was there anything else that you had to add?
Do you feel like it ended like were you like satisfied when it ended?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was
I feel like I was too. A lot of books don't have like a satisfying ending, but I felt like this one I was pretty happy.
Yeah. Agreed. I think that it was like she alludes to a happy ending without fully giving it to you. So I think that definitely opens up for a sequel.
Yeah.
And Layla said, I think Layla said that it's out already.
You just reminded me of Twilight. I will say that Twilight was like I loved the Twilight books. But that's like the only fantasy series I like.
Layla says, I think it's out already. Kaylin said, real life pictures are not attractive.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am so going to think about you guys now every single time I look at one.
I'm going to go back and like look at all my favorite book covers and see
what the trend is.
Yeah.
I agree, Kaylin. She said that she was happy they moved away. I think that that was like the best choice. Like they needed a fresh start somewhere completely new. And I think that that was absolutely the best thing for both of them.
I was really happy with Radha's choice.
Agreed.
And like
at the end with Radha when she comes in and she's got like the bundle with the baby blanket and the bundle and everything, and then she just drops it. I'm like, my heart, like, I didn't know. That was the defining moment. Like, I didn't know, was she being manipulative until after that scene got resolved. I'm like, oh my gosh. Did she not?
Yeah, because when she was in the, like, after she had the baby, when she said, like, I only told you I would give him up, like, she lied about that the whole time.
Exactly. Hence the manipulation.
Like, I feel like all the characters in the book, like, really had a lot of growth.
Yeah.
Except, like, all the main characters.
Yeah.
The good ones.
Yeah. Maybe not Samir.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
But yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, it was like that was the moment. Like it wasn't until she revealed that it was just a bundle of things and not the baby that I was kind of like, okay, maybe she was just remember thinking, oh my gosh, tell me she did not just drop the child on the floor. Like
that would be quite an ending.
Yeah, it would. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was really happy. I feel like I don't have like anything bad to say about the book really, which is rare.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think it's got that kind of same slow burn pace, but I think it worked for this novel, just like it did for the Where the Crawdads Sing, which is going to be a movie, and I cannot wait to watch.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Very happy.
Well, I'm so excited that you were able to join me tonight.
Yeah, we should do this for the next book.
What's that?
We should do this together for the next book.
Okay.
For the sequel.
Yeah. I'm down. All right. Well, we can we'll look at some dates here after we get off. Because I think if it's out right now, we can try and figure that out, okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, cool. Well, just a reminder to everybody, and the sequel is called The Secret Keeper of 𝙍𝙬𝙜𝙧𝙚. And just a reminder, the next book for next month is going to be Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. And I'm going to be joined by Ruthie of Teal Dragonfly Creations for that one. And that is going to be August 31st at 7 p.m. Central Time. And I'll be uploading the replay for this to both IGTV and YouTube. So, and I will be tagging Kalley on there. So be sure you guys check her out. If you don't know who she is or aren't following her yet, you need to be. So thank you so much, Kalley, for joining us. And thank you for everybody who tuned in. And I will catch you guys on the next one, I think. I don't know. I think I'm breaking up now. Are we there? Can you hear me? You gotta love it when... Gotta love it when we freeze right at the very, very end. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.